Who's going to lose their go-to store next? In just a few months, Target has shut down dozens of locations across the United States. No warning, no explanation. Whole communities woke up only to find that the one and only Target in town was gone. They were never the cheapest option, not always the most loved either. But for many areas, Target was the only place where you could buy diapers, pick up medicine, grab groceries, use your EBT card, all in one stop. So what now? Without Target, a lot of towns no longer have a major store within 20 miles. People are stuck driving for hours or paying higher prices at small local shops. This video will walk you through 7 states being pushed into crisis because Target pulled out too quickly. And if you live in one of these states, you'll want to be ready. Number 1, Minnesota. Can you believe it? Target, the retail chain born in Minnesota, is now the first to turn its back on the very place that raised it. From Minneapolis to nearby areas like Brooklyn Center, St. Paul and Bloomington, people who once saw Target as part of the family are now left with empty shelves, unmanned registers, and a very real sense of abandonment. In just the first quarter of 2025, Target reported steep nationwide losses. In-store sales alone fell by 5-7%, and even online sales could not stop the slide. And guess what? Right here in Minnesota, with its headquarters sitting in the heart of Minneapolis, Target showed no mercy. In 23, they promised to protect the community values of the place where they were born. But by 2025, Target was the first to close multiple stores in neighborhoods made up of immigrant workers, seniors, and low-income families groups that relied heavily on Target for affordable access to basic goods. Take Brooklyn Center, for example. Most residents there are African American or Asian American. After the local Target was temporarily closed with no reopening date, many now have to drive nearly half an hour to reach the next closest location. And what makes this sting even more? Target once praised this very community as a symbol of diversity. Now that symbol only exists in their marketing brochures. How would you feel if the company that once claimed you were a priority could not even bother to explain why they left? A former Target employee in St. Paul shared anonymously on Reddit that workers were told to cut back their hours and were strictly instructed not to tell customers about the possibility of a closure. That created a strange limbo. People did not know if the store would still be open tomorrow or if today was their last chance to shop there. For folks who can only shop during specific hours, that uncertainty was the breaking point. They did not just lose a store, they lost stability. Minnesota is different from other states. The bond with Target is not just about brand recognition, it is about identity. Locals were used to seeing Target staff show up at community events, donating to schools and supporting neighborhood nonprofits. But as Target pulls away, what they are really taking is not only products, but the feeling that a major company cared about them. Now suburban communities around Minneapolis are being pushed towards smaller stores with higher prices or larger distant retailers like Walmart, where overcrowding and lack of personal service are the norm. No one has to spell it out. You can see it in the eyes of the mother pushing a stroller across 3 bus transfers just to buy milk, or in the old man staring silently at the doors of his local Target, now plastered with a sign that reads, "Under System Improvements." Minnesota does not deserve this. And its people who only want stability and peace of mind deserve more than being written off as a line of unprofitable data in a quarterly earnings report. If you live in Minnesota, or if you ever thought Target was at least the place to get diapers and medicine at a fair price, then stay alert. Do not let these changes slip by quietly until one day you realize it is too late. Target walking away is not the end, but it is a warning bell. If even their home turf is not safe, which state do you think will be? You already know the answer. Number 2, California. You would think that with nearly 40 million people and an economy that ranks as the 5th largest in the world, if it were a country, California would be a top priority in Target's retention strategy. If you thought that you were wrong. In just 18 months, Target has quietly pulled out of multiple high-density areas in California, especially in places like San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. How did they do it? No big announcement, no clear explanation. They simply disappeared. This is especially dangerous because California has one of the highest percentages of residents who depend on retail chains for access to food, medicine, and basic necessities. This includes immigrant workers, seniors who cannot drive, and families relying on government assistance programs like SNAP or EBT. For years, Target was the place where they could use their EBT cards to stretch every dollar. But now, with Target gone, many neighborhoods already considered food deserts have been completely cut off from affordable retail. Take South Central Los Angeles as an example. According to nonprofit group Public Matters, more than 30% of residents there do not own a car. Target used to be the one affordable store they could walk to. Now it is gone and the gap has yet to be filled. The result, small convenience stores, which already price items about 20% higher, are seizing the opportunity to raise prices even more. Working-class families are forced to pay extra just to get the same amount of food. A carton of milk that costs $3.99 at Target is now $5.49 at the corner store. That may not sound like much, but for a family of 4, those extra dollars add up to hundreds each month and thousands each year. Have you ever thought about that? That one decision from a boardroom in Minnesota could make dinner twice as expensive for a family in Fresno. And it does not stop there. In California, Target was also one of the most reliable mid-size employers, especially for single mothers, college students, and people who needed flexible part-time work. Closing stores has meant thousands of jobs gone. And in a state as expensive as California, losing a Target job is not just losing a paycheck. It is losing the ability to survive in an economy where there is no room for error. On top of that, Target once played a crucial role around public universities, like Cal State and UC. Students could pick up books, school supplies, or instant food just a short walk from their dorms. But as stores near these campuses started cutting hours, closing early, and even failing to restock essentials, students have been paying the price, not just in money, but in time, energy, and added stress. If you live in California and think, well, there are plenty of other stores to replace Target, you are underestimating the ripple effects. Walmart does not expand into coastal areas because of sky-high real estate costs. Amazon cannot solve the problem of same-day local shopping, and smaller chains simply cannot compete on price. The takeaway here is not that you should drive across state lines to shop. It is that you need to build community safety nets, ride-sharing grocery trips, mobile food trucks, neighborhood buying groups, and reliable small retailers so you are not left stranded when Target pulls out again. California, the most populous, vibrant, and dynamic state in America, is now the clearest example of a harsh reality. No place is too big to be abandoned. And if this is happening right in the heart of America's consumer capital, what do you think will happen to weaker states? Number 3, Florida. Did you ever think that sunny Florida would be protected as the shining star of the retail chain, like the ocean covering every corner of the state? The truth is not what you think. Instead of expanding, Target is cutting back in areas where people already have few alternatives. Just look at the plan for new stores in summer 2020. Florida is getting only 2 new locations in Bradenton, Heritage Harbor, and Wildwood. But that is nowhere near enough to make up for the decline in everyday shopping access for local communities. Hear that? Adding a couple of new stores does not mean they are really supporting the smaller towns where you live. Think back to Seminole Town Center in Sanford, once one of the busiest malls in Central Florida. In January 2025, it shut down completely. When a big mall disappears, you would expect essential services like Target to step in and fill the gap, right? Not exactly. If you live nearby, you no longer have a convenient Target to grab milk, toilet paper, or weekly supplies. Do you feel that emptiness? Losing Target is not just about losing the quick-fix shopping option. It is losing the sense that you have a reliable place right in your own neighborhood. When Target pulls out, communities start asking, who is here for us now? Florida has a large population of migrant workers, retirees, and families without cars. As Target shortens hours and reduces staff, many locations become impractical for anyone trying to shop early in the morning or after work. Do you see the problem? These families do not have spare cash to order online, nor do they have the transportation to reach big box stores in the suburbs. Sometimes all they need is a few basics like baby diapers, over-the-counter medicine, or a quick snack. But instead, they are told Target is here, just not open when you need it. Here's the reality. Target is shifting toward the store plus fulfillment center model, meaning workers are prioritized for online orders instead of helping in-store customers. Can you picture it? You are standing in the refrigerated aisle with no one around to assist because staff are busy in the back packing delivery orders. That is when the dinner you needed gets delayed. A senior worries about missing medication, and a young mom stresses over not finding yogurt for her child. Florida is no longer the easy place to live you might imagine. When Target downsizes, the impact is fragile and personal. It is not about macroeconomics. It is about families, individuals, and their smallest daily choices. Notice what is happening. When a major retailer scales back on what used to define convenience, you start to realize your community is no longer a priority. And here is the important part. Do not wait until the day you see your local Target's doors locked for good to ask, "Where do I go now?" Start today. Look into smaller neighborhood grocers, join shared shopping groups, or build habits of stocking up early. Florida is a big, profitable, heavily populated state. But it proves something undeniable. No one is too big to be left behind. When the retail spotlight shifts somewhere else, places like this will be the first to feel the heat. Number 4, Texas. Have you ever wondered how Texas, with its booming population, sky-high housing costs, and fast-paced lifestyle, could possibly be left behind in such a dynamic state? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. Let's be honest. You have probably used Target as a convenient stop to grab sunscreen, milk, or weekend household supplies, right? But as Target pulls back, suburban areas like San Antonio are losing more than just a shopping spot. Since 2021, Ulta beauty mini shops have been located inside many Targets. Now the two companies have announced that their partnership will end in 2026. Around 600 Ulta mini stores nationwide will vanish, and Texas will be among the hardest hit. How does it feel when on a Sunday afternoon you make that quick drive to Target to test out a new skincare product, only to walk into an empty space instead? You are not alone. Talk to friends and you will hear the same thing. I am not asking for much. Just a place to swipe my card, grab some soap, and head home. But now even Target is cutting back. And it is not just about losing a beauty corner. Without Ulta, Target in Texas loses its appeal to shoppers who wanted a stylish, easy shopping experience without having to step into a massive mall. People once chose Target because of Ulta because they could earn both Ulta rewards and Target Circle points. When that benefit disappears, Target becomes just another grocery stop with nothing extra to keep customers loyal. Look at the clock. Target is restructuring everything, focusing on smaller footprints, faster turnover, and direct profits. In Texas, the ones feeling the squeeze are everyone from night shift workers to single moms to construction crews in the suburbs. They do not have time to drive far nor patience for complicated shopping trips. Cutting back on add-on conveniences like Ulta does more than affect beauty needs. It signals that Target is pulling investment from community-oriented services, and people in Texas are starting to feel it. When Target trims its offerings, it feels like they are trimming their care for the community too. You might be asking, if they are removing the Ulta corner today, will they cut store hours or scale back EBT counters tomorrow? The answer will reveal itself soon. Hearing 2026 might sound far off, but at the current pace of retreat, you need to prepare now. For the most vulnerable customers, losing Ulta is not about losing a little luxury. It is about losing the sense that they matter. Nobody says it out loud, but they feel like they have been marked as profits not worth keeping. If you live in Texas and still have a Target nearby, check when that beauty corner is scheduled to disappear. If you see Ulta staff, ask them about the timeline so you are not caught off guard. And plan ahead. If you need mascara or lotion, do not wait for the next sale. Turn to local shops or order online before options dry up. Texas has always carried the belief that Texas-sized convenience would make everything okay. But now you have to ask yourself, is Target here still worth trusting? Or should I start preparing for a new reality where even Texas convenience is no longer guaranteed? Number 5, New York. In cities like El Paso, Laredo, or areas around Austin where immigrant and working-class families make up a large share of the population, Target used to be a lifeline. It was the simple, affordable option that didn't force people into upscale malls or boutique shopping. But now that model is quietly fading. Without shutting down completely, a Target in Texas only has to shorten its hours, reduce checkout lanes, or cut back on product variety, and shoppers already feel the squeeze. They never come out and say it, but the changes speak for themselves. Opening later in the mornings, shrinking floor space, fewer staff on every shift. All the signs point to one thing: Target in Texas is pulling back. And that's especially troubling for senior single moms or shift workers who rely on having a store that opens early, stocks essentials, and has staff on hand when needed. Have you ever stood in front of the baby formula shelf and found no one to ask for help? Or pushed your cart through a Target at night and felt like you were wandering through an empty warehouse? If so, you're already part of the group directly affected by Target's maximum cutback strategy. With the population booming and consumer demand growing, you'd think Texas would be the place Target doubles down on. But their actions suggest the opposite: trimming costs matters more than protecting the shopping experience. And that leaves people feeling like they're no longer the priority. For older customers who used to say, "I'll just swing by Target, it's easy," now there's doubt. Next time, will the store still have what they need? Will there be staff around to help? Will the doors even open at 8 a.m.? This isn't just about losing convenience, it's about losing trust, the sense that you can rely on a familiar place in a world that's changing faster than ever. Texas is no longer the exception. And if even here Target is shrinking back, then no state is truly safe. Number 6, Pennsylvania. Picture this: a neighborhood that once had a Target right by the school or near the train station, the kind of place where you could swing by for ice cream after work. Now that old mall doesn't have a Target anymore, just empty walls, a for lease sign, or plans to turn it into housing, office space, or a mixed-use complex. Exton Square Mall and Shenango Valley Mall are perfect examples. They were once thriving shopping hubs, now torn down or redeveloped with no room left for Target. Not everyone can drive miles out of their way to another Target, especially middle-aged residents, seniors, or families working shifts. Losing that nearby store isn't just inconvenient. It feels like losing a piece of community care that people had come to rely on. Here's the twist. Before the pandemic, Pennsylvania was a state where Target kept expanding. But then retail theft spiked, operating costs climbed, and suddenly every underperforming store was under review. Target never singled out Pennsylvania in their announcements, but once the malls vanished, the stores went with them, leaving local communities weaker by the day. Do you ever wonder if you've been forgotten when you see that empty space where shelves, friendly staff, and warm lights used to be? That's the fear now. When Target cuts hours, trims services, or scales back its presence, people start to feel like they're no longer a priority. For seniors, low-income workers, or those relying on assistance programs, this isn't a minor inconvenience. Waiting until the day your Target quietly shuts down before asking, "Where do we go now?" is too late. Folks who used to walk over now have to catch a bus or ask for a ride to a Walmart further away. That kind of disruption should never happen in your own neighborhood. Pennsylvania makes one thing crystal clear: Target's cutbacks aren't about community needs, they're about profit margins. When the malls collapse and the familiar stores disappear, you realize something simple: if Target doesn't care anymore, why should you keep your faith in them? And if even Pennsylvania, once a state where Target poured in investment, is now among the first places they've pulled away from, then you have to ask, which state will they truly fight to keep? Number 7, Ohio. Have you ever thought that in the heart of America there would still be something steady? A place where you could grab groceries, toilet paper, or diapers for your baby without hassle. And you trusted Target to be that place in Ohio? If you did, you're not alone. Plenty of people have been reassuring themselves the same way. But the reality isn't nearly as comforting. According to Target's Q1 2025 earnings report, in-store sales dropped 5.7%. Even though online sales saw a slight increase, it wasn't enough to make up for the losses in real-life shopping at physical stores. Picture it this way. You walk into Target like you've always done, but this time the shelves are half empty, the checkout lanes are out of stock on basics, and no one gave you a heads up. Ohio has plenty of small towns and suburbs where folks don't have many options, now that Target has shrunk down, cutting store hours, limiting inventory, and running with fewer employees. The convenience you once depended on is slipping away. Do you feel that unease creeping in yet? Especially when all you need is a few items while waiting for your Uber or for someone to pick you up. One striking reality in Ohio is how many malls that once housed Target are fading away. Take Findlay Village Mall, which shut down in early 2025, and with it, Target vanished too. Once busy hubs like Franklin Park Mall in Toledo no longer have Macy's, no longer carry that easy shopping made simple vibe. When the mall collapses, Target can't hold up as the lone pillar either. Now picture seniors or shift-working families having to drive miles out of their way just to pick up a handful of essentials. That's not some small-town charm, it's a harsh shock. When the store you counted on starts disappearing, the idea of stability becomes nothing more than a memory. Do you sense that emptiness creeping in as retail shrinks around you? Target cutting staff, shortening hours, stocking less. People are reading that as a signal that this place isn't safe for us anymore. You might think you'll just wait it out and come back later, but when every day brings fewer workers and emptier shelves, next time quickly turns into no time at all. For older customers and those living on tight budgets, the takeaway is this. Start looking now at local shops, community markets, or quick delivery services nearby. Don't get caught off guard when Target pulls back. You need a backup plan ready. Ohio today isn't just the land of poets' history and good coffee. It's proof that no place is completely safe. And if even Ohio is watching Target retreat, you already know what that means. When a chain like Target starts pulling away from communities that once saw them as part of daily life, it's not just a business strategy anymore. It's an alarm bell. What's happening in Minnesota, California, Florida, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio isn't just about a single store closing. It's about the quiet unraveling of the lifeline millions of Americans rely on. The question isn't, will Target pull out more? The question is, who's going to be left behind next?
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.